Hi everyone, and welcome to another part of the Solidity tutorials. In this part we're going to work on another contract, and the contract is the simple token. So if you want to create a simple kind of token apart from ERC20 or whatever it is, we're going to create the most simplistic kind of token that we can create. In the future tutorials we will go after different kinds of tokens that we can create, whether it's ERC20 or 721. So here we can create a new contract from this folder. So a new file, and we can call this simpleToken. And here, like always, we can copy and paste the first two lines, the license and the version of Solidity. So let's copy that and put it here. So now we can write the contract simpleToken. Now here the first thing we need to do is a mapping. So this mapping is for the balances and to the addresses. So each address has a certain balance of that specific token. So this mapping is the most important one. These are for the holders, the addresses that hold that specific token. So this is uint 256 for the balances, public balances, semicolon, and then we will define an event for transferring the token. So each token should have the transfer events, and this event is for transferring tokens to other addresses. So event transfer. And if you've worked with some of the most famous programming languages, you're familiar with events, but if you are not familiar, this is a kind of an event that happens, and once you want to activate it, you will use the emit function, or emit actually a statement in order to activate this kind of event. So for example, if you emit the transfer event, then that event will happen. So we'll use it inside of our function, but now let us define the transfer event. So there are a certain number of properties that we will get: the address, indexed from, address indexed from, and address indexed to, and also uint 256 value. So in this event there are three things that needs to be determined: the address from which you are going to transfer, the address of the receiver, and the amount of token that needs to be transferred. This is some kind of a payment contract. So we've got this event. Now let's define a constructor, and so we'll get uint 256 initial supply, and it will get the amount of initial supply from the user. So we'll have this on up, and the balances message that sender, initial supply. So the person who creates the token contract, actually deploys the token contract, is the holder of all of the balances, all of the initial supply of that specific token. So all of the balances are at first for the deployer of the token, and then the holder of that token will then be able to transfer it to other people and sell it. So this is the constructor for the balances. Now we will have our function transfer. So the transfer function, and it will get address 2. So the type of the 2 variable is address, and also have the UN256 value. So here you might ask, what about the sender? So we know about the sender because the sender is the person who is the message that sender, right? So we don't need that. Now we'll have public. It's a public function, and now we can open the bracket. So at first we will determine the requirement. Require balances message.sender, balances of the msg.sender should be greater or equal than the value of the amount he or she wants to send, and otherwise we will show him or her insufficient funds. Okay, and now let's go to the next line. Balances of the message sender, msg.sender. So it will minus equal to value. So we'll decrement the value from the balances of the sender, and balances of the receiver will be equal plus equal to the value. Okay, and in the end we will emit the transfer event. So emit transfer event. So let's check here, transfer. Okay, so we'll have message.sender as a sender, and we'll have 2, which is the receiver, and the value, which is the amount we're going to send. Okay, now let's save the contract. Now there seems to be something wrong over here. Let me check what that is. So expected this, but got that. Okay, here for the message.sender. Okay, we need to close this and save the contract. So insufficient funds here, we got an extra one here, square bracket. Now save this, and as you can see, it's been compiled successfully. Now let's deploy it here. So let's run deploy. But before deploying it, you need to determine the initial supply. So for example, here you can determine something like 21 million. Okay, now let's deploy it, and as you can see, the token has been minted. Now let's click on it, and we can transfer from one of the accounts to the other. So let's deploy it again. I removed the previous one because I didn't keep in mind the addresses very well, so we can deploy it one more time. Now let's look at the addresses very well. This is the address that we deployed it. So this address contains the all of the balances. Now we can copy this address and check the balance of it. As you can see, it's 21 million number of tokens. So now let's copy another address that does not have any of the tokens. So let's check the address balance. As you can see, it's 0. Now let's transfer money to the account, and let's get back to the account that deployed the contract. It started with 4B, I think. So now we can do the transaction another time. Now let's this is the address that we want to transfer to. It holds no token, as you can see, 0 token, and we want to send just about 1,000 of the tokens. Now let's transact, and as you can see, it's been done successfully. Now we can get the balances one more time, and as you can see, 1,000 token is the number of tokens that this address holds. So that's it. We've learned how to create a token and send the token to another address so that those addresses also hold the tokens. And that's a very simple kind of token minting. However, this is not the way we do it normally. Normally we use the OpenZeppelin library and also ERC20 interface and create ERC20 tokens or other kinds of tokens. But if you want to create your custom kind of token apart from ERC20 or any other kinds of tokens, you can create it this way. But notice that transfer function and transfer events are the essential part of every token contract. That's it for this part of the tutorial, and until the next one, goodbye.